One of my favorite medicine men told me that on the other side, before we're born, we plan our life. We choose what family to be born into and who we will interact with in our lives, who will be our children, who will be our spouse, those kinds of things. I found this very difficult to believe. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. It seemed totally illogical that I would have chosen certain people with whom I've had very bad experiences to be involved in my life. But as I've learned and as I've grown, I've discovered this is a common thing. I've been watching a lot of videos about near-death experiences, and many people say the same thing, that they chose to have this life where they would interact with these certain souls. Some people had leftover things that they had to do with these souls, left over from other lives that they've lived. People who didn't believe in reincarnation before their near-death experience talk about how they've lived many past lives and how they will live many future lives, and how different souls that they interact with in this life have also been there with them in past lives. They talk about how living each life, we are supposed to learn a number of lessons. We plan what lessons we want to learn in this life before we're born. And this is exactly what the medicine man told me. He also told me that when we die, our souls go to the stars. We become a star, or even part of the aurora borealis, or even the southern lights. He said that we were stars before we were born, and this is exactly what many people report with their near-death experience. Now, one of the things that people talk about with their near-death experience is the life review, that it's not really done with judgment, that it's more about teaching you what you learned, what you did right, the good things that you did, how you made other people feel good, how you made them feel loved. And of course, the flip coin to that is the things that you didn't quite get right and the things that you could have done better. And you experience these things, all of the things that you've done, from both sides. In other words, you experience them as you doing them, and you experience them as the person who witnessed or experienced your actions. So for example, if you said something mean to someone, you relive it when you have your life review as you saying that to the person and as what that person felt when you said that to them. So it gives you a deeper understanding. Something that I found very interesting about that concept, about reviewing each individual experience from both sides, is it's very similar to a vision quest. The kind of vision quest that I was taught about, the kind I went on, the kind I sent my sons on. You sit in the medicine wheel and you first sit looking in. And you go around all the different directions, and each direction stands for a different thing, and you think to yourself, well, how has the world influenced me in, say, let's start in the South, where most medicine wheels do, in the area of our emotions, trust, innocence, childhood. How has my life been influenced by all the things that I've experienced? How have my emotions been influenced? How has all of this experience influenced my trust and innocence and ability to trust others and my innocence? How have all these experiences impacted me? And you go all the way around the wheel doing that. Then you turn around and you face outside and you think, okay, how do I want to influence the world and the people that I come into contact with? For example, in the South, what kind of emotions do I want to instill in them? How do I want to impact their trust and innocence? What can I do to make a positive impact on the world in the direction of the South, which also stands for music and the arts and, a bunch of other things. As if you've been watching my channel, you probably already know. If you'd like to learn more about this, please consider subscribing, hit that bell, you know the drill, so that you get notified if a video comes out. I've also recently started a Patreon page, so if you'd like to follow me on Patreon, I'm giving a little bit more in-depth cultural information there, and some fun stuff, just memories and photographs of times in the past, my past career, you know what I'm talking about, that kind of stuff. So if you're so inclined, if you'd like to learn more, it's not all paid, there are free things on there as well. So thank you very much for watching. And think about what I've just said, the life review and the near-death experience. Many people, when they have a near-death experience, when they come back, it's changed them considerably in many different ways. And they look at life in a different way. A lot of what happens on the other side with these near-death experiences is heavily influenced by our culture. So, and many times these people have said that these entities, these spirits, are asking them, how do you want us to present to you so that you will be comfortable? So people who were raised in a Christian environment might see Jesus. People who were raised in a Muslim household might see Muhammad. People who were raised in different cultures see what is familiar to them in that culture. I was watching one where they were talking about New Zealanders, Maoris, the indigenous people of New Zealand, who have had near-death experiences, and they talk about going to the place where souls jump off, which is in their culture, in their tradition. So I think many times what we experience as we die, whether we die as at the end of our life or whether we come back and it was a near-death experience, whatever the case may be, it's directly tied into our perception of reality, what we've been taught, what we believe, what we expect. So keeping that in mind, it kind of makes you want to examine your thoughts to make sure that your thoughts aren't about, I am terrible, I deserve to be punished, I deserve to go to hell. That would be a bad thing to carry with you to the other side, because basically what we're finding out is what you expect, what you think will happen, is in very many ways what you actually experience. Therefore, in my humble opinion, I think it would be wise, while we're still here, to work on forgiving ourselves and others. Doesn't mean what they did was acceptable. Doesn't mean what we did was acceptable. It just means that we've learned better now. And we know we won't repeat our mistakes, so there's no reason to keep beating ourselves up. If other people have not learned their lessons, and they're more likely to abuse people, to treat them poorly, we can forgive them from afar. It doesn't mean that we have to allow ourselves to be abused again. We can say, well, that person just hasn't learned yet, and I feel sorry for them, because when they get in that life review, they're going to be experiencing a lot of pain. That's what we're trying to avoid for ourselves. So one of the best ways to do that is to say, this person is simply not to that place yet where they've learned how to treat other people, how to be respectful, and so on and so forth. So we can forgive them for not being as advanced as we would like them to be. Just like you can forgive a child for not knowing, advanced calculus or whatever. You know what I mean? Anyway, thank you very much for watching.